S-400 air defense system. Lawmakers say that could allow Russia to learn what the F-35's vulnerabilities are and exploit them. David Wellman, NPR News, Washington.
The New York State judge has added one more level of difficulty for the already beleaguered consumer finance watchdog group created after the 2008 financial crisis. Judge ruling the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is unconstitutionally structured, in effect violating the separation of powers. On Wall Street today, the Dow was down 196 points. The Nasdaq closed 68 points. This is NPR.
Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, mail, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip, unzip it, lock it, fill it, call it, find it, view it, code it, jam, unlock it, surf it, scroll it, pause it, click it, cross it, crack it, switch, update it, name it, read it, tune it, print it, scan it, send it, fax, rename it, touch it, bring it, pay it, watch it, turn it, leave it, start, format it, Technologic.
Live from studios in Self Hall on the beautiful campus of Jacksonville State University, it's the Hey Techies Show. Now, here are your hosts in chairs that should have been thrown out years ago, Michael, Bruce, and the Guru.
Well, it's another night of the fabulous Hey Techies Show, and I am so honored to say that the Guru, which has been out for a few weeks, plus we were off last week because I just couldn't make the show happen and didn't feel well, was well under the weather, and then that would have just left Bruce, and of course he couldn't do it, so we didn't have a show, unfortunately. We hated that. But Guru was off vacationing in places that we can't talk about because it's security reasons.
Security reasons.
We don't want to spread things.
That's what Michael says.
Yeah, it's security purposes. If you might find the places he goes on vacation, you may just mob him there. When he gets on the ship or plane or something. You never know. And poor Guru, wouldn't enjoy his vacation, so I don't want that to happen. So.
I would have enjoyed it.
But this is the Hey Techies Show, and we are Bruceless.
Yeah. Where in the world is Bruce?
Where are you at, Bruce?
I don't know.
Where's he at?
I don't know.
Bruce.
And another thing.
Come back.
Another thing, we're air conditionless.
That's true.
The air conditioner is not doing well.
I didn't know this before I got here, but I had some intuition, I guess, because I went home and put on some shorts and a T-shirt.
Well, good plan.
I'm glad I did because, it's quite warm in this studio tonight. Even with the door propped open, it's still warm.
Yeah. Let's see. It's registering 77 in here right now. So eventually the equipment will shut down.
Let's hope we can get this 2 hours in before it does that.
Yeah. So anyway.
It's 80 degrees outside, so
yeah, I know.
A little bit better inside than out.
Yeah. Well, how are you doing, Guru?
I'm doing great. I've had a fantastic vacation, and I'm well rested. Wish I was still on vacation though.
Well, sure.
I want to prolong that, but it was very, very well needed.
And we're going to talk a little bit about his vacation later.
Yeah,
I'm going to interview him, and we're going to interview him, get his whole, because it was very interesting. There's a lot of technical stuff to it.
There's some technical stuff to it.
And
there's other non-technical stuff as well.
But you might be interested in where he went and what a great time. Maybe it may spark you to want to go. And
several of my friends that saw my pictures. Like,
beautiful.
I want to go now.
Yeah,
so
no question.
I've started a trend. I'm a trendsetter. What can I say?
Well, and that's not shocking. That is not shocking whatsoever, Guru. But if you want to be on the Hey Techies Show tonight, it's 256-782-5600. And you can ring our little phone, and we'll be glad to put you on. Of course, we'll talk about almost anything, but mostly tech is what we try to cover. And, of course, the big news today, which we will cover here later, obviously
was
is
SpaceX.
SpaceX? Oh, no, please.
I'm being silly.
No, I mean, that is definitely always on this week.
There is some SpaceX news.
But this week has been interesting for Musk in general. There's a lot. Since last Friday, there's a lot of stories that have come out. Tons and tons of stuff, more than we can cover in one evening. We could devote the whole show to that, but we're not
We need
going
to do
but we will plan.
the Musk hour.
Yeah, we do.
We can extend the show by an hour a
No.
week, and we'll just talk about
We
Elon
just
Musk
about
for
could,
1 hour.
But we will bring up Musk and all his musking, if I can so call it that. Just some weird stuff. I mean, but he is a bizarre kind of guy. But no, the big news I'm talking about is the Supreme Court ruling, which everybody knew that was going to be handed down. Obviously, we knew it was coming, but what was it going to be handed down was the question. And it has a lot of effects on so many facets. I was sitting here thinking before the show of how many facets may end up this affecting, and we'll get into that because, I mean, look, when you have situations that are going on in the EU and all the different privacy laws that they're doing and have done, the requiring websites to police their content as far as whether it's copyrighted, those laws have gone in effect. It's some of it is very interesting, and of course we'll break that down for you. I've got some articles to that, but the Supreme Court ruling where they have said that states can charge sales tax on entities that have no brick and mortar store in their state.
Yeah.
And
that's been something that's been around for kind of back to the days of mail order.
Oh, yeah.
So if you were ordering something through the mail pre-internet, I know some of our listeners are like, what's that? Yeah, before there was a thing called the internet, there was a thing called a catalog.
Right.
And you would call or mail in an order.
Exactly.
And if that business didn't have a physical presence in your state, they were not obliged to charge you sales tax or to collect the sales tax to remit to the state because they did not have a presence in your state.
Right. And we've got some,
and that's kind of carried over to the internet now.
Sure.
It's been upended.
And then you've got Disney, the things going on with Disney and Fox. Disney has basically offered up a higher offer to Fox.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
Fox is considering it, obviously.
It's like, yeah, we'll just one up you.
Yeah, Comcast is after them, obviously. That's one of their suitors of just a few. And, of course, everyone knew when the AT&T Warner merger was okay, this was going to happen. This was going to continue, and these battles for these different conglomerates are only going to increase. And we talked about the Fox deal on the show and maybe some of the things several shows ago of what that might cause. Yeah. And, of course, we'll do some more elaborating on that tonight if we have time. I don't see why we wouldn't. That's what we got now. Let's see. He said SpaceX. We got that on that. There's some
Apple
There's
rumors.
some Apple stuff. Obviously, every day there's some Apple stuff.
Yes.
That's just the way it goes. And so we'll cover a little bit of everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And, you never know what we'll get into. We may get into some weird news that I just come across by, I don't know, just being me.
Just being
Who knows?
you.
Yeah.
Just being
you
you.
never know. Stuff you come across, like this one about that burger flipper robot.
Oh, yeah, the burger. I remember the burger flipper.
Well, this is another one or similar to it, but it's hitting the shelves out. I think it's out in California.
Oh,
it's where they're finding.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that's right, but I might have the place wrong. So we'll get into that. I don't remember exactly. And another one. If we get this far into our show, you never know. I've got another article here that's very interesting about face scans at Orlando International Airport and how facial scans.
Oh,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so
I saw they were testing something at the Atlanta airport a
They
couple
have
months
been-
ago where you would.
yes.
They're testing technology where you could board the plane by facial recognition.
This right here is
I don't know what-
that was optional.
Yeah, that
Where
was
these-
optional.
Yeah, but this I don't want to get too far into it because
Okay.
I'll make sure
yeah,
to know.
we got to talk about that for sure.
But that's coming up on the show, so we got all kind of interesting things like that. And the guru, don't forget, he's back.
I'm back.
Bloated for bear, had been gone
Won't be
for
able to
2
get rid
weeks.
of me for quite a while now. I'm kind of.
He's kind of back for a little while.
Well,
Who knows?
I'm short on time off from my day job and money, so
there you go.
I won't be unless something heaven forbid nothing happens. I should be here for the next while.
Well, that's good.
Next while, whatever that is.
Next while.
Next while. Yeah, I'm good on vacations for a while.
Really?
Well, I'd like to take another one. I mean, if somebody wants to give me a free trip, like, sure.
You
I'll
mean
go.
you want another vacation?
Well, I'm always up for going somewhere. Especially where I went this time. I'm like, when I got done with this trip, I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm ready
I know
to go.
you
I'm
told
ready,
me.
I'm ready to go back.
Ready to go back.
And I've not said that about. Usually when I go, it's nice to visit, but I'm glad to be home. Well, I'm glad to be home, but I'm ready to go back.
And if you
It's that
keep
awesome.
listening to the show, which I hope you will, we will reveal where Guru went. Maybe
Stay
you
tuned.
can. Maybe you can guess. Maybe you can guess where Guru went. It's
Won't take much to figure it out if you do some searching.
yeah.
Maybe
search for Guru on the internet.
no.
That will
I don't think I posted any on my Hey Techies account.
You probably didn't.
No, but somebody else may have retweeted some stuff.
Yeah, you probably did.
I just gave it away right there.
Well, when we come back from our break, we will dig in to the news of the day and this week. Be right back.
We're just getting started. Plenty more Hey Techies Show for your listening pleasure.
Do you need a job? Are you stuck in a job you don't really like? Do you want to make more money? If you answered yes to any of these questions, your local Alabama Career Center can help you. Career centers provide services to job seekers who are looking to land a job, make a career move, or to get some valuable vocational or educational training. Call or visit your local career center today, where professionals will help you with your resume, teach you how to nail that interview, and can even help you get training for that dream job. All of these services are available at no cost to you. The first step in finding your dream job is making sure you're prepared to land it. And don't just take our word. Keosha Smith, now an LPN, is very happy with the guidance she received.
My overall experience, I would say, was totally awesome. If you're looking for a job or if you want a better job, the Career Center would be a wonderful choice.
Visit us today, www.joblink.alabama.gov. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Labor, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station. In Alabama, the recycling industry employs nearly 11,000 men and women. Recycling just 10% more would create an additional 1,400 jobs and $66 million in personal income. To learn about recycling opportunities in your area, contact the Alabama Environmental Council. Recycling works in Alabama. Brought to you by the Alabama Environmental Council, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Right now, it's a great time for anybody ready to get some real work done in Alabama. Whether you're somebody who needs to hire, somebody who wants to get hired, or a student who wants to know how to prepare to get hired, there's a new unified force for your success and a brighter future. It's time to get to work, Alabama. Alabama works.
Sponsored by Alabama Works, the ABA, and this station. Visit alabamaworks.com.
Do you have a product, service, event, or just about anything to promote, but you have always assumed it was just too expensive? Then listen up. It's not. Here at WLGS, we have every patron spot available with a pricing plan that is sure to fit any budget. Just think your very own patron announcement with the potential to reach thousands. There are a few restrictions, but let us worry about that. Email us at questions@heytechieshow.com. That's questions@heytechieshow.com. Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show. So glad to have everybody in, and that phone number is 256-782.
5600.
And you can also watch us, by the way, at HeyTechiesShow.com. And if you don't want to call the show, but you want to ask us a question, questions at HeyTechiesShow.com. That's questions at HeyTechiesShow.com. And we'll be glad to answer those for you.
Absolutely.
Well, Guru, as we already stated tonight, there was a large ruling today that had been in the works for quite some time, actually. And this ruling was based off of an original court argument that had happened between South Dakota. They had a law a while back that basically was saying that any company outside their state that did either $100,000 in transactions or 200 transactions had to pay sales tax.
$100,000 or
200 transactions in the state had to pay sales tax. Well, of course, that law had been challenged, and in the ruling, it is my understanding. I've dug and I can't seem to find the exact information I'm looking for, but in the ruling, Justice Kennedy says that there are some areas that this can still be challenged. Now, I'm sorry, I don't have those on me. So this was one area that they did decide that, according to the Supreme Court, the brick and mortar law in the state is what they decided, from what I understand, that would not apply. If you were a state that wanted to pass legislation, one of the criteria did not have to be that it had to be a store in your state.
So this will require the state to pass legislation,
if it's not already passed,
right,
to allow the state to charge anyone who does transactions.
Well, I think every state now will pass something like that if they hadn't already.
I'm
just saying.
Right, and there's about a dozen states. Now, as I've said, the articles have said that Amazon in most states already charges tax because of the warehouse situations that they have.
Yeah, and here in Alabama, there's currently not one, which there's one was announced.
Was
it last week?
Right,
week 4?
a couple of weeks ago.
Anyway,
right?
what's a couple weeks ago? Anyway, my weeks are confused because of vacation, but see, before Amazon started charging sales tax in Alabama, Alabama made like a deal with these retailers, like, hey, if you'll go ahead and start charging sales tax, you can do it at a lower rate.
Right.
So I know that is in place, but I'm not sure how that will apply. If that applies to this in Alabama, but this article from CNBC did state the states that are likely to see the biggest percentage increase in revenue, according to research by Barclays, is Louisiana, Tennessee, South Dakota, Oklahoma, and Alabama. So from a state perspective and a revenue perspective, tax revenue perspective, it's a win for that regard, which should help the people of that state. More revenue for different programs and stuff that's funded by the state government. But like I told you in the green room before we started, this is going to be an administrative burden and nightmare for some businesses. Now, like the Amazons of the world, they've got enough sophistication to where they can handle this, enough staff to handle this. But let's say you're a small startup retailer, or you sell stuff over the internet. You sell 200 pieces of something or 200 transactions out of state. Well, you got to start figuring out, basically how much to charge them,
right, based
on where they're at.
Right.
Then you got to be able to, remit that money to the appropriate authority.
Right.
It's going to add a lot of burden, and it's going to hurt the small businesses in that regard.
Well, now,
and as consumers, we're just kind of stuck in the middle with this. That's how I look at it.
Now, one argument has been that this is also a win. And by the way, I did not mention this, but President Trump has been with South Dakota. The administration has been with South Dakota against to allow this, to have these taxes pulled in different states. Believe it or not, that was part of the administration, was helping South Dakota fight against this.
Okay,
and
I was
other
not aware of that.
Well, that's what I read. However, let me tell you this. Apparently, some have said, even some of the local bigger brick and mortar stores are glad about this, because they see this as a leveling of the playing
Yes,
field,
yes.
where these large internet-only presence with very little brick and mortar in any state
Right.
were able to not charge tax,
Right.
therefore lowering their cost overall and making the product a lot less for someone in
And
the
people
state.
would be more apt to go that way because
Sure.
of the total cost. Yes, I can
Right.
see that. But I will say this, and this may not be the most popular opinion coming out of this ruling, but I think I'm actually glad this is happening from a state perspective, because what's been going on in the last 10-ish or more years since e-commerce has taken off, really in the last 10, but longer than that, is these states have been losing money. And like to have roads and to have this and that and other that we're accustomed to as taxpayers and citizens of these states, the money's got to come from somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
So I just hope that this money is used correctly but that's again up to the lawmakers in the state. I don't want to get into that's another political discussion we're not going to get into, but I think this is going to be good. As a consumer, I don't like it because I want to not pay more money, but it is what it is.
Now
We want these social services, we want these public services, we want good fire and police protection, we want good roads, we want this, that, and another to be provided to us. Well, the money's got to come somewhere.
Now, according to the
Same.
Americans for Tax Reform, the president is Grover Norquist. Now, maybe you've heard of that name before.
I have not.
Okay.
Have you?
Yes, I
Okay.
have. He's been a mover and a pusher for many
A mover and a pusher.
Yes, for decades.
Step aside.
Yeah.
Push you out of the way.
He said today that the Supreme Court said, yes, you can be taxed by politicians you do not elect and who act knowing you are powerless to object. This power can now be used to export sales tax. Then let's see, I'm sorry. Yes, to export sales tax, personal and corporate income taxes, and open the doors for the European Union to export its tax burden onto American businesses as they have been demanding. So his view is if you take out the brick and mortar part,
Yeah.
then you're going to open doors for a state to say, well, since I don't have to have you in my state to tax you because we've already knocked that out of the way, then we're going.
Right.
This is just another push to push the laws a little further and say, well, we're going to tax you in that state, but you have to pay taxes over here. So I can see where the slippery slope is, because that prior to that, most states couldn't tax someone if they didn't work in their state.
Correct.
Okay, well, that little situation may now. I can see where this, given the right kind of lawyers and given the right kind of folks, you could get that problem. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it is an interesting take.
You're not implying that like I live in Alabama, you live in Alabama, and we purchase something from an out-of-state company. That money would come to Alabama because I live in Alabama. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm implying that a state may take it further as far as taxing individuals in other states. Say, for instance, one example is that I'm saying this is someone's example. One example is that through population change, like a lot of people might want to leave a state for their laws or what have you.
Yeah, it's happening.
Right,
now.
especially in California.
Like Georgia's gaining a lot, especially in that area.
They may figure out ways with this exemption and this change in the law to be able to still tax people for whatever purpose that they design. I know it's out there, but what I'm saying is that's the tax. That's their view of it. Americans for Tax Reform. That's what he's come out and said. This is Grover Norquist. One of the things,
my belief is, if whatever state you live in and you're conducting commerce, that money, sales tax for the sale of the tax when you purchase something should go to the state in which you live in.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Period. And if they change the laws, I hope our lawmakers can fix that.
Listen, this is it though. I think this is where he's digging from. And yes, this touches tech. So if somebody gets bored, I apologize. We're not trying to bore anybody, but it's important. If physical nexus is no longer required, as the Quill versus ND case demanded, For sales tax, then it is no longer required for personal or corporate income tax. See, that's where he's getting at, that it could be a slippery slope. So we'll see. I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, this is still early on, and like the other person said that you mentioned, there's some pieces of it that are still up for interpretation.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
This story is far from over.
No, and as Justice Kennedy said, he feels sure that this is going to be contested some more.
So better stock up on your stuff.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Different segments of this will probably be contested some more. So
yeah, this is going to be going on for years. So it is what it is.
Now, if you take all of that and you tie that into what happened this week.
Just don't tax me on what you're going to tie in together.
Right. Well, if you tie all that into this article that I found, and actually it's more of an opinion piece by Rhett Jones, and it's from Gizmodo. And I'm not going to read all of it. I don't want to do that. But what he's referring to is the EU Legislative Committee on Wednesday voted to adopt the sweeping measures that will upend, in his opinion, the web in every way as we know it. It's like memes, news, Wikipedia. And part of this is several articles that in there, like Article 11 and Article 13. And most of what it deals with is what is a company's role as in a provider of internet service and or your internet website. What is that role as it pertains to copyright law? And copyright law is different in states and it's different in other countries.
Yes.
So then you have we've talked about on the show, you got all these factions, and this is going to if you've noticed lately, and we've said it before, but this goes back to this. If you've seen a lot of these new pop-ups telling you what you're agreeing to on websites, that's from what's going on over in the EU.
Yeah, the whole
your privacy policy.
GPDR.
Correct. This ties in with that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that this might go very far, really far. And he writes about Article 13. He says, this section of the directive will completely reconfigure websites' responsibility when it comes to enforcing copyright. As I said, until now, the so-called e-commerce directive has given online platforms broad protection from being subject to copyright penalties.
That's GDPR, not GPDR.
Yeah, GDPR, yes.
Whatever.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let's see. So for instance, if a company had a website, YouTube is one of them.
Right.
And they missed one of these. Through algorithms, they missed one of these. And they didn't flag something that was, say, copyrighted, per se, then the individual who copyrighted it could go after the YouTube, could go after the people that put it up there. They could go after the provider of the internet service, your ISP possibly, with all of these. So dings along the way. Let's see. It says last week 70 of the most influential people in the field of technology signed a letter opposing Article 13. Pioneers like Kreff and Berners-Lee were joined by experts in virtually every facet of online world to say that the legislation would harm freedom of speech, education, expression, small business, while giving major platforms that already heavily monitor their services at a distinct advantage. So they're talking like Google is not going to be overtly affected by this. They're large enough. Facebook is not going to be overtly affected by this. They're large enough to be able to absorb whatever cost they could get the algorithms. They could make it work to be able to pull whatever these other groups in other countries don't want done. Okay?
Yeah, right.
And so I actually think it's going to actually be a serious problem. And this is another one. This is an interesting. This may affect the Hey Techies show in the future, by the way.
Uh-oh.
I mean, we're not that we're big, and we probably wouldn't.
Thanks for joining us for the last 2+ years.
Yeah.
We're done.
Well, this will affect us
kidding.
in a way. The Article 11 specifically talks about the link tax or the snippet tax. Now, what that would be is we have show notes. Matter of fact, I'm trying to do them as we go along.
Right.
Thank
you for doing this.
I've been trying to do that. So anyway, we have show notes and we link articles. Now, we're not stealing anything that people are saying. We're pointing you back to the story. We're not an aggregator of news, but we're just wanting you to see where we get our news, where we're getting our news, where we're kind of getting our opinion. Well, anyway, they may be able to, through this, very possible, the owner of the product may be able to charge you for your link or charge you for the snippet a tax on. That's the way it's working.
Oh, my gosh, really?
Yes. And
that's the whole reason the internet exists, because you can hyperlink stuff together.
One example was given. This is interesting to me.
Really?
One example.
I so wish Bruce was here right now.
Okay.
I want to hear what he has to say about this. Let's call him.
One of this, let's say, a member of Parliament, Julia Reda, is firmly opposed to Article 11 to 13. She recently wrote on her website, instead of one Europe-wide law, we'd have 28, with the most extreme becoming the de facto standard. To avoid being sued, international internet platforms would be motivated to comply with the strictest version implemented by any member state. So that is an excellent point, and I'm glad I remembered to catch on that, because what's going to happen is if all of these countries, okay, the EU, all of the EU, the 28 member states, whatever's the most strict, everybody else is going to have to live by, because they don't want to get dinged by that one very strict government.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Or the rules of their country. So this is how these rules could apply to us over here. You having a fight with stuff over there?
Yeah, I'm struggling. I'm good now.
So, I mean, this
been out of the studio for 2 weeks.
But I think this is important, that really a lot of this is tied together with all these different decisions. It's very interesting, all coming together. The privacy issue that the EU is really, I think, is going overboard on a lot of the areas. Bruce and I talked about it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I heard it. I
about how they're trying to ding Android.
Yeah.
And the kind of things. And a lot of it is just a money grab for areas who are not capitalist for the most part, I think. And actually, I had Bruce agreeing with me on that. I mean, it was surprising.
That's very surprising. But
it was that he kind of was agreed with me on that to some extent. But anyway, I know it was odd. But that's what's sort of gone on. And today, and of course, it's more faceted than we could probably cover. And maybe that we're not lawyers, so that or judges, so there's going to be some nuances we probably don't.
Again, here, this is far from over.
Yeah.
Far from over. Stay tuned.
I totally agree.
So
It is. It is far from over, so you never know.
You never know. That's true.
So what's going on with old SpaceX? What was the big hoo-ha-ha?
Well, they don't have a launch today. They had something earlier. Let me see if I can do this while I'm talking.
They didn't have a launch today.
No, they hadn't had a launch since I've been on vacation.
Right.
Hang on. But speaking of launches, they have a launch next week. But that's not the news.
Well,
there was something else, and it came up while I was driving in, and I can't find it now.
Oh no, Guru!
I got this.
You got me all hyped up.
No, but I do have this. I thought I had something else, but I have this. This was a tweet that SpaceX did. Yesterday.
Somebody from SpaceX.
This was the SpaceX Twitter account.
Okay.
You know, Crew Dragon is at NASA, using the NASA Twitter handle, NASA's Plum Brook Station testing facility in Ohio, home of the largest thermal vacuum chamber in the world, to demonstrate its capability to withstand the extreme temperatures and vacuum of space. And there's a picture of it being put into this little vacuum chamber. So the Crew Dragon is going through some validation and testing through NASA, because that's supposed to be part of their contract with NASA. They've already been sending cargo to station with Dragon, but this is the Crew version that actually take people to the space station. And I think I was trying to see when that launch was scheduled. And if you give me a minute, I'll try to find out.
1,000.
No, hold a minute. Take a minute.
Just a minute, huh? Is all I have to give you.
You got to vamp a little bit while I look this up.
You'll get 1 second. 1,000. We might even give you a thousandth of a
I'm
second.
trying to go to my source, like your Reddit.
Oh, you got
well, there's a SpaceX.
He has
subreddit.
sources.
It's called Reddit.com.
Guru, yeah, Guru has
SpaceX.
his own sources.
No, it's not my own sources. This is a source. So let's see, Crew Dragon. Yeah, the first is scheduled for 31 August this year. The first, it's a demo mission, so it'll be uncrewed, but it will be the Crew Dragon.
Really?
Yes, doing a demonstration flight without any people on board, and the demo mission 2 is in January of 19. So it's still some time off before this thing will actually take people to station, as in the space station.
Mm-hmm.
But the January 19 demo flight, it will actually be crewed.
Okay.
But it's going to low Earth orbit. I don't know if it's going to the station or not. It doesn't say here. But yeah, they're going through some final, I guess, validation through NASA's processes. But there's plenty.
Now, can you tell everybody what the Dragon, in case they don't know what is
Dragon is the name of their space capsule, which will sit atop the Falcon 9 rocket.
Okay,
that's what they're calling it. They're calling it Dragon. They've had Dragon for a while with for that's uncrewed. That's for cargo.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not rated for human space flight. It's rated for the transport supplies to and from the station. It also will come back and land. Well, it'll do splashdown in the water, but it's think of like an Apollo era type capsule. You know, that type of shape with the heat shield, because it's designed to come back through re-entry and survive re-entry, because they can actually bring stuff back down to Earth from the space station. I remember the other thing was let me see if it's in here, because apparently a contract got awarded to SpaceX today, and here it is. Yeah, here it is. It just kind of got floated down. This is breaking news here, so let me play this. So this is from defense.gov, a contract. So apparently SpaceX has won a $130 million contract from the Air Force to launch the AFS PC-52 on Falcon Heavy. And if you remember from last year, they did the Falcon Heavy demo flight. So they have been awarded a contract to fly this. Yeah, here it is. Space Exploration Technology has been awarded a $130 million firm fixed-price contract for launch services to deliver the Air Force Space Command 52 satellite to its intended orbit. The launch service contract will include launch vehicle production and mission, as well as integration, launch operations, and spaceflight worthiness activities. Work will be performed in Hawthorne, California, Kennedy Space Center, Florida, and McGregor, Texas, expected to be completed by September of 2020.
Okay.
This was a result of a competitive acquisition, blah, 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 da, 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 da. I'll send this to you so you can have it in the show notes.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of government legalese and blah, 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 blah. But that's the $130 million contract to launch one satellite. One. With Falcon Heavy at that.
Yeah, the Heavy Falcon.
Yes, the one with the three first stage boosters.
Right.
Yes.
How it gets off the ground is amazing.
It's fantastic.
Did you know, though, in accordance with this kind of discussion, we always have to bring up a weird one, and I try to anyway. But
he's trying to.
I ran across this on Business Insider. Did you know a startup had raised $40 million to catapult rockets into space?
I think of a catapult like something I did like in physics class.
Yeah.
Where you like with the rubber bands and the popsicle sticks.
Yeah.
And you fly something.
Right. Catapulted in space. And one of this idea was originally.
I want to know the people who gave money to this. Like that's so preposterous. I mean, how do you escape the gravity with just a catapult?
I'm going to tell you how they're designed.
Okay, tell me.
Jeff Bezos had once said this has all sorts of practical problems. Well, yeah, you would think. However, do you remember Do you remember several years ago, one of the I don't know if it was within the first week or within the first 2 or 3 months, we'd have to go look it up on the Hey Techie Show. We covered an elevator to space. Don't you remember that?
Yes, I remember
we
that.
joked about that, about an elevator to space, and they were going to make this blow up or something that was going to expand, and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so silly, but they are really serious about this. And one of the ways they're talking about is a way to make something that would spin something very fast.
It's like the shot put in track and field.
Like this. Okay, so what they're talking about, spin launch technology is based
Spin launch, baby.
Spin launch is based on the law of conservation of momentum.
Conservation momentum.
Yeah,
Okay.
similar to cracking a whip, Guru. Spin launch plans to use kinetic energy to get a small rocket spinning in circle up to 5,000 miles per hour, where it will then be flung into orbit. Now,
fling it, baby.
Now,
fling it in orbit.
Listen to me. My question is this. Unless they figure out how to keep that thing straight as it's spinning, those people are going to be more than drunk inside there. I mean, if you got somebody inside there, they're going to be completely dead at spinning at 5,000 miles an hour. I mean, I just think that's. I mean, I know I'm being silly here. I know they got to figure it out.
But it's like the track and field person does a shot put.
Yeah, right.
They spin around.
Correct.
That's discus.
Yes.
Or the shot put does it too. But discus.
Yeah, they spin around.
But how did they still manage to let it go and it go the right direction? Because I would like have it flown into like the spectators or something and be hurting folks.
I don't know.
I was not good at organized sports as a kid. By the way.
So anyway, well, when the Hey Techies Show returns, hopefully we'll have you call to talk about some of the stuff we may have talked about that might interest you.
Yeah, we'll talk about other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then other stuff after that.
And then other stuff after that. Right.
And more stuff.
Hey Techies Show. Be right back. Welcome back into the Hey Techies Show. 256-782
5600.
And you can be on the show or questions at heytechieshow.com. Now, we last left, we were talking about SpaceX, and we'll probably come back to Musk here in a little bit.
Well, that's for the Musk hour.
Yeah, the Musk hour. Right?
Hour 30.
But I did want to cover
Stay
out
tuned.
the other big news that is sort of tied into in a way to all the things we've been talking about in some way, because there's a lot of mergers that have been rumored to happen, and one that probably is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
As far as AT&T and Time Warner,
that.
Yes, we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Me and Bruce did how that had gotten approved. So everybody was holding their breath, waiting on the Time Warner. What was going to happen with AT&T Time Warner? Would the feds approve it?
Yes.
Would there be
We talked
backlash?
about that. I was here when we talked about that part.
We have.
Yeah.
But what would take place after that happened? Well, then the floods broke loose. Iger decided, hey, I'm going to up the ante. Since Comcast had upped the ante.
He went and fished some money out of his couch.
Right.
Said, here, I got,
we're
one up you
gonna
on that.
Up the ante.
I'm going to see your offer and raise you.
Correct. We're going to see your offer and raise you some more. And they did. They actually raised $19 billion offer from what they had previously had.
Up by 19 billion or 19 billion was
up. They raised the bid by 19 billion.
Oh, added 19 billion.
Yeah, it was 6 billion, I think, over let's see. I think it's 6 billion over what Comcast. Yeah, 6 billion more than Comcast.
I'm gonna see yours and raise you by 6 billion.
Yes.
Try that.
Yeah, try that. Yeah. And so that's what's happened, and it's interesting because it would appear everybody who's watching would have to see this one thing if they don't see anything else. Disney and Iger are ready to cash all the chips out in order to get Fox. And not only that, I think as we discussed on the show before several weeks ago, one of the major blockbuster products that they're trying to get a hold of is that third share of Hulu that Fox has.
Yeah.
If Disney grabs that third share of Hulu that Fox has, then Disney owns the controlling interest in Hulu.
Yes. It's like going to like an auction and you have this lot of stuff, but there's just one thing.
Right.
And you're gonna spend gobs of cash because I want that one thing. I gotta have it.
Right. And they're getting other
and
things too.
I mean, and from a business perspective, yeah, if they can buy that third ownership in that company, and now they have a majority interest.
It's going to be huge for Disney.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be huge.
I just hope the consumer doesn't suffer because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how's this going to affect us as consumers?
Well, I know, and I'm not a Hulu subscriber, so
no, I'm not either.
For me, it's not going to have any major effect up front, but.
But do you subscribe to other streaming services?
I do.
Well, then there you go. It's still going to affect you.
It might very well. The question is, and I guess it's not so much a question, is the wonder is exactly what would transpire. One doesn't know. For a long time, Disney has suggested and said that they were working on a way to have a Disney-only streaming service, a service that they stream to all their content, a pay service, obviously.
Right. Well, I mean,
one would expect so.
But if they buy the control interest in Hulu, they'll just like, well, we're going to put our content on Hulu.
Yeah, and it's still a paid service, or change it.
And it's a lot easier to do that and they've already got a customer base than having to start something up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would be a win-win.
I wonder how many subscribers Hulu has versus like Netflix.
I didn't look that up. Of course, now Disney is looking for other things too. Some of the Fox's other products that it would give it. Now, of course, as we've talked before, this would not include their Fox broadcast. It would
not, the entertainment arm of
the
Fox.
Only entertainment arm. It wouldn't include their sports.
I think they moved. Well, they're going to split because it's like 21st Century Fox. They're going to like take the.
Well, the discussion is that the ironically one article said that the next discussion would be rather the name of the spinoff would be New Fox. Now, I think that's just some. I know it sounds stupid.
Like New Coke.
Yeah, right. I know. I thought the same thing. That would be terrible.
Hulu has 20 million subscribers.
There you go.
According to Wikipedia. And Netflix.
It's got to be.
It's gonna be multiple
100
times.
million. I'm going with I thought somewhere I saw 100 million for Netflix.
It's not over here in the. I have to find it in the. Give me a second.
50 to. I'm going with 50 to 100.
50 to 100.
It'd be my.
As of April 2018, according to Wikipedia, 125 million.
Oh man,
Netflix.
I was off.
And Hulu's only got 20 million.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
I know it's a huge difference.
Yeah.
There's no question about that. It's
but they've got 20 million customers. Boom.
Right.
And who else owned Hulu? I saw Turner Broadcasting owned
yeah, they
10%. They had a small interest in it. Hang on, let me go back to this article. Currently it's Walt Disney 30%, 21st Century Fox 30%, Comcast through NBC Universal 30%, and then Turner had the 10%.
So I mean 30 and a third, I mean you're looking at 63%, right?
Yeah,
My math is right.
that's over half, so I mean you control it.
Oh yeah, I know.
I mean, you have 50.1%, you've got power.
Oh, correct, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but
I
now,
mean again, even if you don't subscribe to Hulu, this could affect you. Just saying.
Well, that's possible.
Again, we shall see.
Now, an interesting tidbit, Guru.
But it hasn't been approved by the feds yet, correct?
Well, no.
Okay.
But neither has it been disapproved by the feds
Well,
yet.
it's still pending regulatory approval.
But here's the thing. You brought up a great question. Iger and Disney smartly has already begun the discussion. They are already into the discussions with the feds to approve this.
Okay.
And
well, I mean,
they're
serious about it.
They're saying that their merger is more entertainment side, not the AT&T Comcast, where it would be more broadcast
And all the other
or rather
the
ISP,
the delivery mediums.
Correct, the delivery medium. Right.
Yeah,
so
they have more of an argument
that theirs would not be so much of a monopoly in that area. Now,
correct, in terms of the whole distribution channel,
since they already do where they're getting, they already do entertainment, so they're
not in the business to get content to you.
Well,
they create content.
Yeah,
currently, yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
now they have the Disney Channel, and that would be
but they don't get it to your home.
Correct, right? Like AT&T.
The only way you get Disney Channel
or Comcast does.
The only way you get the Disney Channel is you go through a service provider.
Correct, right? Oh yeah, totally agree. That's right. So
I don't know if you can buy it directly as a streaming service or not, but anyway, they're an entertainment company.
You know what you can't buy directly as a streaming service?
What?
Fox News.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I have to log in with my
I did not realize that they had not done
service
that
provider.
Yet.
That's coming.
Yeah, I wonder. They're making such change.
And
they're not getting dumped on all these cord cutters.
No, because they're like the number one.
Yeah,
they're like the number one news cable news channel. I mean,
whether you like it or not.
And speaking of that, there's a new. I don't know if you saw this. And this is, I don't want to turn into political discussion, but there is a new television network. It's a streaming service called CRTV. Have you heard about it?
I have vaguely, yes. I've heard some commercial or two, I'm thinking. The radio commercial, it seems like I've heard something about.
Yeah, they're, ad-free, censor-free. If you go to their website, ad-free, censor-free, 30 days free. So you get a 30-day trial. And I think you can get different. There's like a $10 a month for month to month. The first month's free. You can get an annual pass, and you pay $8.25 a month, billed annually at $99. So you buy a year's worth. They give you a deal. You can get a 3-year pass for $199, billed one time, but it's $5 a month. What it ended up being, but they got people like Mark Levin.
Yeah,
they got people like Eric Bowling. He used to be on Fox.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
all right.
They've got a show called "Get Off My Lawn."
Hey, that's what our show is.
I know. I mean, they have what's the guy from Duck Dynasty? Phil.
Yes. What was the site again?
CRTV. Charlie Romeo.
Yeah, CRTV.com, I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
So there you go. I mean, I just thought I'd mention that. You talked about a news network.
Yeah,
that's not.
right.
This is a. I guess it is news, but it's kind of like a traditional cable news channel. They have news, but they have a lot of opinion.
Right.
Which is what most of cable news has turned into, whether you like it or not. So I kind of want to see what it's all about, but I just can't like commit myself to sitting down and watch this for 30 days because I don't watch enough news or television as it is.
Right.
I need to have somebody else try it out.
Well, they're going to charge us now that we're going to put a link to them. So they're going to in the news story. So they might ding us. We might have to pay something.
We'll just tell Eric Bowling that he'll vouch for us. Eric Bowling's a good guy.
Yeah.
I actually met Eric Bowling once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, when he was working for Fox. Anyway.
Well, we're coming quickly. Yeah, we're coming quickly up on our
dose,
and we still haven't covered Musk, and we
hadn't talked about my stuff.
We're going to.
Yeah,
our dose. I promise. Stay tuned. We
don't go anywhere, folks.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Guru's whirlwind vacation.
Well, I want to talk. I got several things I want to talk about. Well, but you know what you want to ask me, so I'll let you ask me.
Yeah, I'm good. You're good to talk.
I got some tech stuff. There's a tech angle to this,
of course. Well, this is our show. We can talk about whatever we want to.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about something else, you can.
But
your own
we
show.
always spin it back to tech.
We try very hard.
Oh, I can spin about anything back on tech, but I got our true tech, something to share with everybody.
Oh, cool. I ran across some tech stuff too. Now it just reminds me this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that I'd never really dealt with. But anyway, well, if I don't forget about it, we'll cover it in the second hour.
Okay,
our
sure.
Dose coming up pretty soon. So we appreciate everybody hanging out around with the Hey Techie Show tonight. And coming up next is a news break, top of the hour, and our dose right around the corner. Hey Techie Show.
You've listened this long, so stick around for our dose.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. The Pentagon is being asked to make space on military bases for as many as 20,000 unaccompanied immigrant children. That's according to a U.S. military spokesman. The request comes amid what has been a growing political fight over detained migrants. NPR's Pentagon correspondent Tom Bowman says it's still not clear how it would actually work.
The question is, can they provide that many beds? And the other thing is, well, what will this entail? Would it be barracks or would it be tents? And people I talk with in the Army say you're likely not going to have that much space in barracks, so you're likely going to have to create some sort of tent cities.
According to a Pentagon memo to members of Congress, it's been asked by the Department of Health and Human Services to have those facilities available by as early as next month. Many online sales are about to start costing more. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled today states can force retailers to collect and remit sales taxes on out-of-state purchases. As NPR's Nina Totenberg explains, it reversed old decisions that protected out-of-state vendors from sales tax obligations.
The justices reversed decisions dating back 50 years that protected out-of-state vendors from paying state sales taxes unless they had an in-state physical presence. But that was before Internet sales existed, and the court majority said that today, with e-commerce increasingly driving the economy, those earlier decisions make no sense. Writing for the court majority, Justice Anthony Kennedy said that in the current circumstances, the physical presence rule disadvantages local businesses and unconstitutionally deprives states of the ability to collect taxes needed to fund critical public functions. Nina Totenberg, NPR News, Washington.
The nation's largest hunger program would have a new home under a plan from the White House to reorganize the federal government. Harvest Public Media's Grant Gerlach reports that would cause a shakeup for food politics.
The Trump administration wants to move the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which used to be called food stamps, out of the Department of Agriculture. It would land in the Department of Health and Human Services. Craig Gunderson studies SNAP at the University of Illinois. He says that would be a blow to USDA. SNAP takes up 3/4 of the agency's budget. And for decades, he says, the fate of farm support programs has been tied to SNAP in the Farm Bill.
My concern is that this traditional and strong relationship between farmers and anti-hunger groups would be broken to some extent if it was switched over to HHS.
Any change of this scope would have to be approved by Congress. For NPR News, I'm Grant Gerlach in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Communications company AT&T says it's offering a new streaming service that will incorporate networks from Time Warner, which it just bought for $81 billion. AT&T's new Watch TV service is a cable-like package of more than 30 TV channels delivered over the Internet. On Wall Street today, the Dow dropped 196 points. You're listening to NPR.
Technologic.
Use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip and zip it.
Welcome back into the Hey Techies Show. Our dose coming right at you. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. The guru had to take care of something, so I'm on my own now. Oh my goodness, what might happen? But anyway, well, I had promised, and I don't know if promise is the right word, but we had talked about earlier in the show some things we might cover. And one of those things was where a company has been working for a long time now, pardon me, on a burger flipping product that will actually do everything from start to finish. The only human that enters the actual handing you the product is a person who hands you the product. That's pretty much all they would do. I assume take money, but I think that might be automated as well. And this burger flipping deal, yeah, I did say that several times actually. But this is pretty interesting because in the article there's a video you can watch and that kind of thing. But anyway, the creator is from the Bay Area, and I think we're talking about San Francisco. And the interesting thing about it is a machine that contains 20 computers, 350 sensors, and 50 actuator mechanisms. So it's fairly interesting, fairly large, but it's pretty cool because it has all these different pipes and tubing. And
is it like the internet, a series of tubes?
Yes, and so
I have no idea what you're talking about. By the way,
it's able to cook the burger, cut up all the it cuts up the actual. If you wanted a tomato, a pickle, if you wanted to put lettuce, if you want to put lettuce on it, if you wanted to, all of these things it does, and then it sends out the product on a bun.
You know what's good on a burger?
What's that?
Pimento cheese.
That's
totally random.
No, these tubes come down. These tubes come, they're vertical, and so they have slices of tomato and onion and pickles, and it actually slices. It has a system that slices them and then puts it on the actual product.
Wow.
So it has these little bowls that go by on a conveyor, and then the sauce is put on there, and then the burger's put on there, and if you wanted cheese, and then each one would go by, so pickles or lettuce, and the machine handles all of it.
Now, where is this at?
It's in San Francisco.
Okay.
Now, what's interesting to me, having said that, now think about this. The burger is sold for $6.
Ooh.
I know.
It's a little pricey.
But in San Francisco, is it?
I don't know. I haven't been to San Francisco, so I can't.
I don't think so. But it's an experience to see the machine work. It's almost been explained as the
it's like a tourist. It's a tourist trap.
It's almost been explained like, come on, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Almost a machine that would be something in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Right. Gotcha.
Some it would do this. It would
between that and like now McDonald's restaurants are having kiosks where you order.
Right.
I recently got to use one of those in my travels. They had the kiosks, and before you say why'd you eat at a McDonald's while you're traveling, it was at an airport.
Yeah.
There's not many choices in an airport, and I needed something I had to get on my flight. But yeah, it had the little touch screens. Between that and like the automated thing making the burgers, I mean, people gonna lose their jobs. And I hate that, but I mean,
well, in this instance, it's not true because there's a lot of other things that has to happen for someone. It does not load itself with vegetables. It doesn't load itself with the meat. I don't think that some of that product has to be prepared and done. Now it does all the other. It cooks it. It no human hand touches it, from what I understand. So it isn't like somebody standing over and flipping all that. It does it automated. I agree with you, but there are still front-end people that hand you the burger. That's what I was explaining earlier. So that was just a little something tidbit while Guru is tidying up with what he had to do.
Yeah, I apologize. I had to step out.
No, it's fine. It even has a cheese shredder. Like there's a thing that shreds, if you want
shredded cheese. Oh,
yeah.
Nice. But does it dispense pimento cheese if you want?
It dispenses like salt and pepper and all the spices. It has a thing that would dispense.
You need to try pimento cheese on a burger. It is it is spot on good.
I wouldn't have a problem trying
blue cheese
I like
too.
Pimento cheese. Oh yeah, I love blue cheese.
Oh, I had it on my vacation. I had a burger. I had a burger with blue cheese. Ooh, so good.
Yes.
Making me hungry thinking about it.
So speaking of Guru's vacation,
yes,
and this will cover several segments, I'm sure.
We're gonna try to we'll try to keep it.
No, we're gonna do it in 5 minutes.
I don't know about 5 minutes. I can get part of it in 5 minutes.
No. I'm kidding. I'm just joking. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
Guru decided, and he loves his cruises. And
of
Bruce
course.
and I have talked about it when he's not here. He loves his cruises.
I do. The best vacations ever.
Yeah, and many years ago he was invited on a cruise.
Yes, a friend invited me to go.
And she's actually called the show before.
Yes, she's
been on the show before. And she invited him to a cruise, and you loved it, right?
Yeah, and at first I was like, I'll try it, because when I was in college, I wanted to try it, but that was a different time and money and whatnot.
Sure, and
so,
you really if you want to go to something like this, you want to get one you can enjoy. You don't want to buy the cheap package. You want to.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you can do those kind of things,
you can.
but you really want to do something nice.
So
if you're going to spend the money,
right. So yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed all cruises I've been on. I've never had a bad cruise.
Yeah,
I tested that today.
You tested that?
I attested
you I'm sorry, I apologize. My hearing there. I tested. Yes, you attested that today. And on as a side note, before we get into this, you are writing a review currently.
Well, yeah, I tend to,
and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I want people to know this cruise I went on is a fairly new ship and doing this itinerary, so there's a lot of people interested. And I will give my honest opinion, just like I do on this show. I will tell you how I feel.
So, Guru, where'd you go?
So, this has been 18 months in the making. I booked this cruise January of 2017.
Wow.
When they first went for sale. Like, I saw it. I said, I want to do it.
Didn't you book it right here in the green room? It seems like you were working on something right here in the green room.
I don't remember.
Okay,
but it was January 20. I have to go back to. I don't know.
I'm just going on. I don't know.
I may have. I booked it online. I know that. But so yes, I went on the Norwegian Bliss, which is the name of the cruise ship, to Alaska.
Ooh,
yes,
big money.
Well, not big money, but it's different than your typical. You think of a cruise, you go to a tropical climate, the Caribbean, or Central America, some of those ports down there in the Caribbean area. But yeah, Alaska.
Is it cold?
Yes, it is cold.
Is it cold on the actual boat? I mean, as far as if you're
not in the inside of it. I mean, it's climate controlled. On deck.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, it's just like the temperature outside. I mean, they designed these ships with like wind breaks, so you don't like get out on deck and it's like you're cruising at 20 knots and you got that wind coming on.
It was the question I'd been asked. Okay, so that's why I'm asking.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's the question. These are questions I've been asked.
Depending on the wind, you may feel some wind across deck. Depending on the wind, there's like the prevailing wind and then the apparent wind across deck based on your motion. But I mean, instead of the temperature, I mean, you feel whatever the temperature is at the outside.
Well, I just want a person to know. I mean, if they don't, if they decide they will not do this,
Yeah,
they need to know.
And cruises to Alaska only happen in the summer,
right?
Because it gets way too cold for like ships to be able to navigate up there in the winter.
And I think that's another thing that I didn't know. You're not really going out in the ocean.
No,
you're
it's
staying
different.
in, what do they call that area?
The inside passage.
Okay,
if you remember from your geography or your history classes,
there you go.
The inside passage.
So you go up through these inside passages.
So it left out of Seattle, went to Fort Sakal, went to Ketchikan, Alaska.
Ketchikan. Fun to say.
Ketchikan.
Yeah.
Catch me if you can.
Catch you if you can.
Went to Juneau, Alaska.
Okay.
And then from there we went, and that was like a half a day call there because the afternoon we went to a glacier.
Oh, wow.
Dawes Glacier.
Yeah, I know. You showed me some pictures. Man, it was amazing.
Yeah. And then we went to Skagway, Alaska, kind of the heart of the gold rush, if you remember from your history books.
Yeah.
And then came back, and our last port of call was Victoria, British Columbia, the capital of the British Columbia province in Canada.
Right, in Canada. In Canada, folks.
But yeah, like you were saying, this is unlike most cruises. Usually when you leave port, you're out in the ocean, you see nothing around you but water.
Right.
Until you get to the next port. But
sure.
This one goes up the inside passage, so there's you're within a few miles of being able of shore, so you're able to see the shore off in the distance the whole way, which is very unique, and it's very nice because it's just very mountainous terrain, obviously.
Right.
If you've ever been there,
and you can get some beautiful shots.
Oh,
I'm sure.
Man.
I've seen some of them.
I took over 2,000 pictures with my iPhone.
Oh, not surprised.
I took some with a regular point and shoot on one of my excursions. I didn't want to take my phone with me. But yeah, it was man, breathtaking. The views, breathtaking.
Well, when we come back from our much-needed break, we will continue with the story and get further in depth into Guru's trip.
And I've got a tech part of this.
There we go.
Trust me, it's coming.
Yeah. Hey, Techies Show. Be right back.
No representation is made that the opinions of hosts here are better than those of the average tech show, but we think so.
Do you need a job? Are you stuck in a job you don't really like? Do you want to make more
Welcome back into the Hey Techie Show.
You're just sitting there waiting for me to turn the mics back on.
Just itching to get back to the storyline. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Well, I'm enjoying this music. You know,
Oh, yeah.
little Zach Williams, Old Church Choir.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not against the music.
Oh, I know you're not.
So I know we could talk about the cruise, we could talk about the boat, we could talk about all this stuff, but here's what I want to do.
Okay.
Because we want to move along with this story, because we want to get the other part that you want to tell. But I think for this kind of aspect, the thing that most people probably want to know about is the excursions. So
what you do on shore, because the reason you take the cruise is to go to the destination.
Correct, right. So
some people don't. People take cruises. Some people don't take cruises just not get off ship. And I like to go visit these places. That's the reason I cruise.
Right.
So, yes, first port was Ketchikan.
Mm-hmm.
Catch me if you can.
Right.
Ketchikan, Alaska. You know, and I did a short excursion. It was a rainforest zipline canopy tour.
Yeah, my wife was telling me about that.
Yeah, and you know, the rainforest in Alaska. Yes, there is a rainforest in Alaska. And it was very cool. It was very well done. You know, 2 great guides we had. Perfect weather. It was like 50 degrees, cloudy. You know, it's not sunny, but for Alaska, they said for Ketchikan, Alaska, that's like the best weather ever.
Wow,
it's like 50 degrees, cloudy. It was just some
sounds great to me.
Passing rain. I mean, but this is middle of June,
right? Well, this current weather we have here, 50 degrees sounds excellent to me.
Thoroughly enjoyed that. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Well worth it.
How long was the zip line? About approximately?
I don't know, about 2 or 3 hours maybe.
I mean,
it was one of these where when you start the canopy tour, you're off the ground the entire time.
Oh, okay.
It's not one of these where you climb up some sort of a tower and go to zip from place to place and then go somewhere else. I mean, it's all connected, but the moment you start that first zip, you're off the ground the entire time. So you're going from treetop to treetop.
Wow.
And there was like 2 or 3 suspension bridges in there, and then got to the very end. The last, you know, when you took the last zip line and you got to the tower on the other end, you were still up in the air.
Yeah.
So it's like they had to get you down, and they have what they call a surprise at the end, which basically hook you up to this rope, and you just step off, and it just gently lowers you to the ground. Some sort of little device.
Okay.
So it was really cool. I thoroughly enjoyed the zipline canopy tour, and you even got a little medal for finishing.
Oh,
you survived,
there you go. You survived.
Everybody got their medal for participating. No, it was good. It was good. I've got a picture too. They took. I didn't bring. I said home. I need to take a picture of it. Take a picture of the picture, and I'll show it to you.
Cool.
But anyway, that was Ketchikan, and then got back in time to do some shopping in port. Because you ever heard of totem poles? You know,
yes. Oh,
Native
yeah.
Americans put these.
Sure.
They put these totem poles up, and there's history behind it. I'm not gonna get into a history lesson because I don't want to misspeak there. But the totem poles originated in Ketchikan, Alaska.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And if you have a U.S. passport, turn to page 25 of your passport, and there's a totem pole pictured. That totem pole is in Ketchikan.
Huh.
I did not know that because I'd flipped through my passport and I saw the different like scenes from the states.
Yeah, right.
But page 25 of your U.S. passport
there
has
you
a
go,
totem
a
pole, and
tidbit.
it's the totem pole in Ketchikan.
Oh,
one of many totem poles in Ketchikan.
Yeah.
But yeah, went there first, did some shopping, got back on the ship, left. And what's interesting about Ketchikan, like, it's on an island in the Inside Passage. The only way to get to Ketchikan is from ferry or barge, you know, cargo or people, or by airplane. And even the airport's across the water from the town. So you have to
you showed me that.
So you have to land. If you flew in like on Alaska Airlines or something, and you know one of the airlines, you'd have to take a ferry across the little
or helicopter.
Yeah, I guess
you could copter over. I guess if you were into that.
But yeah, that was Ketchikan. So the next day we went to Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah.
That's the capital of Alaska.
And most people have heard of Juneau.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot larger city compared
Sure.
to Ketchikan, but you know, lot of it has a nice little downtown shopping. I didn't get to shop anywhere there because my short excursion kind of took a little longer, but very nice city. One thing about Juneau, going to my short excursion, which I'll tell you about in a minute, I saw so many bald eagles in one drive. I've never seen that many period in my entire life that I saw in one place.
Yeah.
There was like 50 of them all together.
Golly.
There was one on top of a light pole. But there was this whole little like lowland, like wetland area.
Yeah.
And it had just tons of bald eagles. It's like at least 50 of them. It was like, oh my gosh. I think I have a picture. I'll show you when we get off the air. But it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But then
very majestic.
But that was it got even better. So the short excursion I did, they picked us up at the cruise ship at the pier. They took us to the airport. So I like airports.
Oh sure.
But anyway, no, we actually we're gonna take a helicopter ride.
Right down your alley.
That's right.
Alley there.
Aircraft.
My wife said she didn't think she would do that, the helicopter.
Oh,
she just doesn't do helicopter.
But they get you outfitted because you need to be outfitted for this because you're going to the Mendenhall Glacier.
Yeah, that was something else.
So you're wearing like these special boots for the walk on the ice. You're wearing like windproof outer layer gloves. They give you a little waist pack with like some water and some snacking in case you get hungry. Which, I mean, who's going to eat when you're at the Mendenhall Glacier? But anyway, they give you that. Of course, take your camera. And they put you on the helicopter with, it's like 6 people to a helicopter with the pilot. And they fly you to like a 30-minute little scenic flight around Mendenhall Glacier, pointing out stuff. The pilot's pointing out stuff because you've got a headset on, so you're able to talk to the pilot and he's talking to you.
Right.
Very informative little flight. If that was it, that'd be awesome. But you actually land on the glacier.
Ooh.
And they come and get you out of the helicopter, and,
Yeah.
then they put these basically these metal spikes on the bottom of your boots.
Okay.
And they give you like a trekking pole, they call it, so have another point of contact for stability. And you do a 1-hour guided walk on the Mendenhall Glacier.
Oh wow.
And they're pointing out different things, talking about different things.
Don't step there. Did they?
Well, they had the crevasses where the ice had separated.
Correct.
And one of them was filled with water.
Yeah, I saw a picture you had, and then one was right beside you.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah, and then they were talking about how the some of the ice is white and some of the ice is blue, and it's blue because there's no oxygen to that ice. And that's why refraction makes it appear to be blue.
Okay, cool.
And then we also got to drink glacier water.
Oh, there you go.
So they gave that bottle of water, and the guy said, okay, now if you hadn't drank your water yet, open it up and pour it out.
Oh gosh.
And then there was a stream of glacier water where it was melting.
Right.
And we put our bottle down in there and filled our bottle up.
I bet it was freezing cold.
It was so good. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
I'll bet it was.
So
I can imagine.
And that hour went by so fast.
I'm sure.
It's time to go back. I'm like, So the helicopter came to pick us up and then took us back to the airport.
So it left you. The helicopter left.
Well, the helicopter constantly running. Like when we landed, there was a group going back.
Okay,
so they're constantly running these things.
Well, it makes sense.
And I talked to the guides. I said, "So y'all just stay out here all day?" They thought, "Yeah, they come to heck us in the morning, and we stay out here till the evening."
Oh wow!
I said, "You got the best job ever."
Well, I don't know, man. It came up a storm.
Well, I mean, they had a tent like right at the landing site. So in case they said that they didn't have a tent, if the weather does move in and get really bad, it's big enough for everybody to get in till they can get you off there.
Wow!
So they're prepared.
Well, clearly they would have to be.
Yeah, and very well done. The staff was fantastic. The guides were fantastic. The pilots were great. I mean, 10 out of 10.
Wow.
And I don't want to give names on the air because we don't take advertising in the station, but fantastic. If you go to Juneau, you've got to do that, and it's not cheap.
No, I'm sure.
But my advice to you is save the money before you go to make sure you can do that, because you'll be kicking yourself if you don't get to experience that.
Yeah,
trust me.
Okay.
So I was like, and after that, it's like you kind of got on this high of like, this is great, awesome, and now I have to go back to the cruise ship. Like, oh no. But then the next day, we went to Skagway, Alaska.
Right.
A little more toned down excursion. I kind of did one that was a little more low key. Took a tour on a bus. It had like 20 of us on the bus with the driver, and the driver was narrating the whole time. And
sure.
The guy was fantastic. He was an excellent speaker. He knew the stuff about the Klondike Gold Rush like the back of his hand.
Wow,
He was telling the story as we were driving up the Klondike Highway into Canada.
Right.
Went through British Columbia, went into the Yukon Territory.
Yeah, that was it. That would be interesting.
And we stopped at a little small. It had its start from an Indian village called Carcross.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was called originally Caribou Crossing, but the Canadian Postal
the
Canadian Postal Service, the equivalent of U.S. Postal Service in Canada, they shortened it to Carcross.
Okay.
Caribou Crossing was too long. That's what they told us. Very cute little village, very cute little town. Then we went a little further in and we stopped and had lunch at a resort. We went a little further in after that. Then we came back. So it was like a 6-hour, tons of pictures. We saw 4 different bear sightings. I mean, fantastic.
What kind of bears?
Oh, brown bears and
brown bears,
black bears.
Okay,
yeah, no grizzly bears. He said those stay way up in the wilderness.
Okay,
so we saw some mountain goats.
Yeah,
didn't see any caribou.
No caribou.
No caribou, even though it was we went by Caribou Crossing. They didn't cross. But that was fantastic, too. I thoroughly enjoyed my day. I got a little bit of time to shop in Skagway. Skagway, at the peak of the gold rush, had like 40,000 inhabitants. Today it has like 800.
Yeah, wow.
So tourism is this big thing now, but it's just a cute little town. It just kind of reminds you of the Wild West kind of look of the town.
Okay.
It's really neat. And showed the picture to my mother. She's like, yeah, I think I'd like to go there. It's real cute.
Tumbleweeds going across?
No tumbleweeds.
No tumbleweeds.
But anyway, after that, we went back south. That was the furthest north we went.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm thinking about that, like what drove me crazy was the days were so long up there.
Okay, yeah.
We weren't far enough north for it to be like daylight the whole night, but like it would get dark at like 11 p.m. and get daylight about 3:30 a.m. So like one night, I remember on the way up, we went to one of the shows on the ship, and I already had dinner. Then went to the show, and then the show was over with. It was like close to 10 o'clock when the show was over, and I was like, I'm getting tired. I'm ready to ready to turn it in. But with some friends, I was like, we're gonna hang out a little bit. We come out of the theater and it's still like broad daylight. I'm like, oh my god! So I just had an extra little spurt of energy, like it's daylight. And then like 30 minutes later, I was like, oh, I'm going to bed. But anyway, after Skagway, we went to Victoria, British Columbia,
right,
the capital of British Columbia. Very, very cute little city. Not little; it's a big city, but reminds me a lot of what I would think Europe. I've never been to Europe, but from what I've seen pictures of Europe.
Well, that would make sense.
Very Victorian.
Sure.
Victoria. We had some local cuisine there and for dinner. It was a group of people that I was with, and when we went back to ship, that was like an afternoon. We were only there from like 4 in the afternoon till 10 that night.
Okay.
So we only had a few hours. So kind of went in the city, saw some stuff. Nothing organized excursion, just kind of milled around.
Right.
Came back, got on the ship, and watched us sail away.
Now, I know I'm interrupting. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine.
But didn't you go to another? It's not iceberg. That was dumb. Another glacier.
Yeah, after Juneau, after Juneau, we went to the Sawyer Glacier.
Okay,
that was on the cruise ship.
Right,
the cruise ship went down to the
ship. It's a little section. It went down.
Yeah, it went down one of the little passages or straits and went up to. I mean, we were still a good bit ways away because of course I got to keep the ship safe.
Right.
But
didn't want to turn into the Titanic.
No, did not, because I mean those waters are fairly deep. You don't think they are, but most of those waters are like fjords where it's like hundreds of feet deep because it's the mountains and this is the glacier water that's come in and seawater and all that. As we were going up to that glacier on the cruise ship, we were up on the front of the ship. They opened up the bow, the front of the ship.
Okay.
It was normally a crew area. They opened it up for passengers so you could get out there and watch. That's the coldest it got the whole cruise.
Okay.
I had to wear my heavy jacket. But it was very cool, like little pieces of ice floating by.
Oh, wow.
And some of the ice was big enough, like there was some seals like sitting on the ice. They're just like hanging out like, hey, what's up? Saw some whales.
Yeah.
So we had 2 different whale sightings. Had whale sighting going to the glacier. And one night at dinner, we had seats next to the window on the back of the ship, and we saw the whales. Like we didn't see them come out of the. They didn't do like the free willy out of the water, but you saw the top of them come up, and like they spurt air out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that was cool at dinner to be able to see that.
Okay.
And then we came after Victoria. We came back to Seattle, and the cruise was over. But my vacation wasn't over yet. I went to the Boeing factory.
Well, Boeing factory. Oh,
did the Boeing factory tour. I had to do that while I was in Seattle.
Yeah. So that was cool, I'm sure. And you went into areas, as I understand, that you couldn't take pictures, right? Very strict.
Yes,
at the Boeing factory.
We were told multiple times by like security and like the people doing the tour that cameras are not allowed. If you have one, you must put it in these lockers that we provide free of charge here, because if we catch you with it out on the tour, we will confiscate it and hold it for investigation.
Wow.
Which basically means you're probably not getting it back.
Probably not getting it back.
And our guide told us the reason they do that is not for industrial espionage, that like people trying to steal their secrets don't need pictures, that they want the actual like plans for the aircraft.
Right.
They say do it for a safety issue, because when you're in the factory, you're not on the factory floor because they don't want to impede on
the work.
And from a safety perspective for you, so you're up in these like balconies looking over where they're building the planes.
Right.
and they're concerned that you would be trying to get that perfect shot and you'd lose grip of your camera and it'd fall down on workers below and potentially could hurt somebody.
Oh yeah, absolutely, certainly. Okay.
Which that makes sense. It was still kind of a bummer. I wish they would have a way you could take a camera, but if you had it somehow secured to you. That's the rules though.
So I take it selfie sticks are really outlawed there. I mean,
yeah. Even on the helicopter flight, they said no selfie sticks.
Well, I can understand that too. No selfie sticks. But now, okay, so the factory.
Yeah, Boeing factory.
Right, the Boeing factory. What impressed you? What was the thing that
just the scale, because they build this factory. They build all the jumbo jets, 747, 767, 777, the Dreamliner, the 787. So it's just the scale of things, just amazing. This factory is the largest factory in the world by volume.
Wow.
In terms of the volume of the building, so.
Because they build these and they move along, right? I mean,
no,
they don't. They're in place and they just
they have an area where they can where they'll put the wings onto the fuselage, then they shift it down, and then they do all the outfitting. And they have places for 2 of those, and then when they get done, they said at night, they actually when they're the major moves of the aircraft and the major components, they do it at night.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They intentionally have fewer people working the third shift, so there's not a lot of people around
to move it
from a safety perspective.
Right. Yeah.
And that's also when they move them out of that building and they move them across the highway.
Oh, wow.
To where they paint them. They have separate buildings where they bring them in and actually put the paint job on them.
Okay.
And
it's amazing.
The overpass that they don't close the highway down. It's an overpass.
I got you.
But it's the only private overpass, privately owned overpass.
Oh, wow.
In the U.S. that goes over a highway. It's privately owned road.
And I bet you it's fairly wide road.
Oh yeah, and it's got the guardrails like a wood, but they're just metal guardrails because they can fold them down.
Yeah,
so they can take the plane across.
Yeah, that's neat.
It was neat. That was neat. And they had a bunch of aircraft lined up on the flight line. They were finishing up. They'd already painted.
Sure.
Some of them they'd painted. Some of them they were still working on, but they had the tails painted. All these different airlines, I saw El Al from Israel. I saw a plane from I saw Korean Air. South Korea.
Right. Now, there was an area out in the lobby area, right, that you could take pictures.
Yes.
And that was more of a historical.
Yeah, that's more the museum part. They called it the gallery. They had some different engines on display. They had some parts from, they were showing the difference between how they build a Dreamliner with carbon fiber. That's tech. Here's tech part. Versus how they used to build them with just the aluminum and all the fasteners, all the rivets. Right. They had that. They even had the front section of a 727.
Oh, wow.
And you actually get in it in the flight deck and you can sit down and you could actually control the aircraft. I mean, it was not a simulator. It's just where the controls, you can move the controls. So I did that, had somebody take my picture, and I sent it to our friend Captain Jeff at the Airline Podcast. I got this, Captain Jeff.
Yeah.
Which he used to fly the 727.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That was fun. I enjoyed that. But let me back up now. We'll get back into tech now. We're gonna segue back into tech.
Yeah, okay.
We got 6 minutes till the break.
That's fine.
That took 30 minutes. Wow. Anyway, before I got on the cruise, spent a day in Seattle, milling around the typical tourist stuff. Pike Place Market and Space Needle and all that fun stuff you do when you go to Seattle. If you've never been before, but I said I want to go to the Amazon Go store.
Oh, there you go.
Because I knew that was a thing, and that's the only one. They're still. It's open to the public, but it's still they haven't rolled this out. So I actually forgot about preparing ahead of time. So I was on the light rail going into town. It's I need to download that. There's an Amazon Go app you have to use.
Mm-hmm.
So I downloaded the Amazon Go app. After I got it downloaded, you sign into it with your Amazon account.
For sure.
And then I think it asked you which credit card on your Amazon account you want to tie to Amazon Go. So you picked your credit card. So I picked one of mine. And then it kind of went through a little tutorial, and it said, but basically I figured it out. It was really easy. They had people there helping you at the store. You got to the store, and it's like turnstiles,
yeah.
It's kind of the ones with glass doors,
Right.
And to gain entry to the store, you have to open up your Amazon Go app. There's a QR code when you first load it, and you have to scan the QR code on the turnstile. When it accepts it, the turnstile opens.
Oh, wow.
And you walk in the store, and it's not like the size of a Walmart. It's like a size of a convenience store. But they carried grocery items. They carried fresh fruit and vegetables. They had meat products. They had, soda and chips and snacks. But, I mean, if you lived in Seattle and you needed something like to cook a meal, you could get that in there. And the prices were very reasonable. It was typical what you'd expect to pay at a grocery store. It wasn't like super inflated. Like a can of Coke was like 69 cents.
Okay.
Typical what you would expect to pay. So,
Right.
And they were giving out reusable shopping bags you could use, or if you had your own, you could use it. But it's just amazing to me because once you scan and go in, you put your phone away. You don't need your phone.
Right.
Is you go and you select the items you want. You put them in your bag. And if you change your mind, you put them back. And then when you get ready to leave, it's like you get ready to leave, you go back up to the turnstile, and it opens. And I asked the person there, I was like, am I done? She said, you're done. I said, you sure? I said, it just don't feel right.
It emails you a receipt, right?
Within 5 minutes after I left the store, I was thinking this whole time, like, my gosh, I just walked out with this stuff and didn't pay for it. But 5 minutes after it, a push notification came from that app, said, thank you for shopping with us, and here you can view your receipt. And I viewed the receipt, and every single item that I left the store with, it charged me for.
Yeah.
And I'd put something in my bag intentionally and put it back. And it knew that. So it only charged me what I took out of the store.
So
that is so amazing.
So is it tied to the proximity of your phone, or is it tied to the something in the bag? Do you know?
No, it's not. You can use any bag. You don't have to use their bag.
Well then
I think there's a bunch of there's sensors on the shelves.
Right.
Like you can tell if you pull something off the shelf.
Well, yeah.
But I think there's also cameras in the ceiling that's like doing motion tracking, and it's tracking you. That's as best I can figure. I mean, a lot of this Amazon's keeping close to them. It's,
sure.
It's very proprietary. But just the fact that you can, do that without, and don't get me wrong, there was employees in the store helping you. There was people stocking shelves, and if you had a question, they could ask you. But the fact that you didn't have to go through a cashier at the end to be checked out.
Yeah.
And paid,
oh yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
It just did not feel right, Michael. It did not feel right.
So do you see these stores in other places? A lot of other places?
What?
You mean moving to...
going there eventually. I think if they can get it perfected, yes. And all I got to say, the other retailers, you better watch out because Amazon's coming.
Yeah.
But I bet you like the other big box retailers are trying to figure this out too.
But now this isn't like a really large store, right?
No, it's
more like a convenience store.
It's a convenience store. And if you try to grow the scale, it could be a lot more difficult, obviously. But the fact that you can do this
is
amazing.
Yeah, we've talked about it on the show, but nobody's ever actually seen one.
And I bought one souvenir that they had some souvenirs. They had some coffee mugs.
Well, there you go.
It said Amazon Go on one side, and on the other side it said just walk out shopping.
Huh.
I think I sent y'all a picture of it while I was there.
Yes.
But I was like, I said, I got to have the coffee mug. So I had to figure out a way to get it back in one piece, which I did. And I've enjoyed coffee out of it at least once.
Cool. Well, when the Hey Techies show comes back, we will finish up the show. One segment left to go before the conclusion of this week's episode. So we appreciate it. Hey Techies Show. Be right back.
HeyTechiesShow.com. Open 24/7, as long as we don't forget to pay the bill.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
In Alabama, the recycling industry employs nearly 11,000 men and women. Recycling just 10% more would create an additional 1,400 jobs and $66 million in personal income. To learn about recycling opportunities in your area, contact the Alabama Environmental Council. Recycling works in Alabama. Brought to you by the Alabama Environmental Council, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Watch out for people riding bikes. It's not just courteous, now it's the law. The new 3 Feet for Safety Act requires that drivers give at least 3 feet of space when passing bicyclists. More and more people are commuting and touring Alabama on bicycles. As the number of cyclists on our roads increases, so does the need for safe driving. So slow down and give cyclists 3 feet of room. Follow the rules of the road and watch out for each other. Learn more at drivesafealabama.org. Sponsored by ALDOT, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Do you need a job? Are you stuck in a job you don't really like? Do you want to make more money? If you answered yes to any of these questions, your local Alabama Career Center can help you. Career Centers provide services to job seekers who are looking to land a job, make a career move, or to get some valuable vocational or educational training. Call or visit your local Career Center today, where professionals will help you with your resume, teach you how to nail that interview, and can even help you get training for that dream job. All of these services are available at no cost to you. The first step in finding your dream job is making sure you're prepared to land it. And don't just take our word. Keosha Smith, now an LPN, is very happy with the guidance she received.
My overall experience, I would say, was totally awesome. If you're looking for a job or if you want a better job, the Career Center would be a wonderful choice.
Visit us today, www.joblink.alabama.gov. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Labor, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Do you have a product, service, event, or just about anything to promote, but you have always assumed it was just too expensive? Then listen up, it's not. Here at WLGS, we have every patron spot available with a pricing plan that is sure to fit any budget. Just think your very own patron announcement with the potential to reach thousands. There are a few restrictions, but let us worry about that. Email us at questions@heytechieshow.com. That's questions@heytechieshow.com. Welcome back into the Hey Techies Show. So glad that everyone could be with us tonight and hope you're enjoying this evening. And I enjoyed learning about Guru's Cruise. And
I'm glad you did.
I've been lucky.
I probably bored everybody else.
No, I've been lucky to see some of the pictures. It was very interesting and very beautiful. Man, a beautiful place.
It was fantastic. That's why when I got done with that cruise, I said I'm going back on this one. There's no doubt in my mind. I will be back one day.
Now, I promised that we would discuss somewhat of Elon Musk's oddities, even more so than normal. but what
about his fake news thing?
Yes, we talked about several weeks ago. I mean, that I haven't necessarily heard anything, but he has doubled down a little bit on that.
Oh, okay.
Well, sorta. He's still blaming most of the stories that come out on the media, just trying to, blow it out of proportion, as he says. Comparison in this is, well, a few accidents compared to the 40,000 accidents that happen with regular cars or gasoline is what he's saying. Every year, he's saying that his are very minor, okay, compared to how many's happened. But, of course, you're talking about one manufacturer. I think his perspective is a little out of sync here. You're talking about one manufacturer versus all the other manufacturers. I don't think that's a one-to-one. But anyway, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I understand what he's saying, and I do agree. The media blows everything out of proportion. Gosh. So on that, that's
the understatement of the decade.
On the standpoint of that, from me and him, I do agree with him. However, there are several CNBC articles, and it just happens to be the ones I found, And the headline is, I don't know if you've heard about this, Elon Musk emails employees about extensive and damaging sabotage by employees.
Oh.
Yeah, according to this article, Musk said this person had conducted quite extensive and damaging sabotage to the company's operation, including by changing codes to an internal product and exporting data to outsiders, according to Musk.
Oh.
Now, this article goes on to say that several employees from different divisions within Tesla confirmed receipt of the email and to CNBC.
So it's just within Tesla only?
Apparently so.
Okay.
It says, from Elon Musk to everybody, subject some concerning news. I was dismayed to learn this week about a Tesla employee who had conducted quite extensive and damaging sabotage to our operation. This including making direct code changes, we've already talked about, to the Tesla manufacturing operating system under false user names and exporting large amounts of highly sensitive Tesla data to unknown third parties.
Oh.
By the way. However, there may be considerably more to this situation than meets the eye. So investigation will continue in depth this week. We need to figure out if he was some guy was acting alone or with others at Tesla. Now, of course, this comes after the heels that there has been many articles written about the conditions at Tesla. Now there's tents outside. The factory is turned in some areas as big tents outside because there's not enough room apparently.
Oh, okay.
They're wanting to cut the management. You know, they said they were going to cut management. I think that was about a week ago or a little more than that. I think it was 9% of the total force, and it wasn't any supposed. It was salary employees basically is what they were going to cut.
Okay,
according to Tesla. So these are things that are going on where it seems like that there's a lot of chaos. Now, I don't know whether that's true or not, but also in the same vein, Elon emails another the employees again talking about there needs to be radical improvements to hit quarterly targets. You know, that's been an ongoing thing. His dejectors have said, well, you're not hitting what you said you were going to hit. You're going to make this many vehicles, and you've never even come close. Of course, they've had a lot of excuses.
Yeah.
They've been full of excuses. You know, what they are doing is monumental in a lot of ways, whether you like it or not.
True.
Whether they're interested in an electric guitar too, electric car or not.
So they're going after Fender now.
They are. They're going. I didn't know if you knew that.
Didn't know that.
Pardon me. An electric car or not?
The not so boring company.
Yes, right. They're going to be playing music as well, apparently, according to me.
We say we start rumors on this show. There
we go. So anyway, it's things like that are very interesting to me about what's going on with Tesla. And it's an ongoing, there'll be something tonight, there'll be something tomorrow. The question is whether or not the media is really, I don't know, are they being unfair to Tesla? Maybe. Some of them probably are. I don't know. It's a good question. Is he being a little bit out there? Is he punking the media some? I think that's true. I think that's possibly true too, in and of itself. So, you know, I don't know. You never can. The thing about Tesla, I'm sorry, Elon Musk. I keep saying Tesla. The company, that's Tesla. Elon Musk is you never know what he's going to come out with next.
No,
he is extremely unpredictable.
Yep.
And you know, I think maybe that could be a good thing for him. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But it's interesting to me about what he's doing.
Exactly.
I'm not a big fan, fairly of the product. It's not for me. But hey, if you enjoy it, and it's something you might look to. It's outlandishly expensive.
It is.
And they still have not come out with this supposed under $30,000 car that supposedly was going to come out, you know, and be comparable to others. So who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. Do you remember something called Air Power?
Yes, I do remember something called AirPower. It didn't Apple play around with this,
Yes.
or they're going to play around
Yeah,
with it?
last year they said sometime during 2018 they would have this. And what it is, it's a charging mat that can charge your iPhone, your Apple Watch, and your AirPods all at the same time. And the engineers apparently were hoping to have it by June. Well, that's not happened. So they're talking about hopefully later this year. This was an article in Mac Rumors where they're quoting a Bloomberg News story and a guy named Grumman. Yeah, Gurman.
Okay.
But there's also a related story, and this is real quick, and I'll be real brief.
No,
with
you're
this.
good.
And I wish Bruce was here to talk about this. We'll have to kind of put this on the back burner of Bruce's back, because I want to get his opinion. So, as a side note, in that report, talking about the technical challenges facing AirPower, that's expected to be released in September, according to Gurman. He also noted that Apple had considered removing the wired charging altogether from the iPhone X.
Send them over the edge on this.
From his story, this is what I'm quoting his story. During the development of iPhone X, Apple weighed removing the wired charging system entirely. That wasn't feasible at the time because wireless charging was still slower than traditional methods. Including a wireless charger with new iPhones would also significantly raise the price of the phones.
Okay. Significantly raising the price of you talking about wireless charging. Just
I guess they include the wireless charger.
Correct, right?
Because they have to give you a way to charge your phone. And if they didn't have a cord that you could plug in, they would have to give you a wireless charger, so it would make the phone price go up.
Sure, of course.
So it'd be like $1,200 instead of $1,000 for your iPhone X.
I mean, you got to get the premium.
And it's also, this Mac Rumors article is referring to a few years ago when Johnny Ive, their chief design person, he said his end goal is for the iPhone to resemble, quote, a single sheet of glass, end quote, which would kind of relate to no ports. And they've also talked about a wireless future, too, as well, Johnny Ive, which I personally don't agree with. And I want to save that discussion for when Bruce is here, because I really want to get his opinion on this, but then the fact of this going to all wireless, is it the right move or not? What do we think? So I know we have 3 minutes left. But I want to say that when Bruce is here.
I got you.
So we need to table this for when Bruce is here. Because I've got some opinions, and I want to hear what everybody else has to say as well, but I don't want to get into it with 3 minutes left and counting.
Wireless charging only.
Yeah, that was apparently they were trying to get there, but they couldn't get wireless charging where they wanted it to be, so they put the lightning connector in. Yeah. Remove the headphone jack. But they did replace it with the adapter.
Right.
So you could still use a wired something to
correct, right.
And like with my iPhone 8, I'm in that situation. But I also have the adapter that came with it, so I can use regular headphones. But I also have another adapter where I can charge and listen. I can charge my phone and listen with regular headphones at the same time.
Yeah.
But think about this. If you didn't have that port at all, and there'd be no more ports in this device, I mean, you couldn't have an adapter. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah, I know.
Think about your favorite pair of headphones.
I understand.
And most people, I think, they're fine with the Apple ones. I personally don't like them. I've got my preferred headphones. I like to use those. And most people that are, more of an audiophile would probably prefer a certain type of headphone.
Sure, absolutely.
And just think about this: if you could not use those,
right?
And I know Bruce will, well, they need to be Bluetooth. Well, what if they're not Bluetooth? Some of your best headphones are wired. You cannot beat wired.
Right.
I'm gonna leave it at that because I'm gonna keep on ranting, and we've got 90 seconds.
No, it's fine. I mean, that's what
we
do here.
Just digest that for a little while, y'all.
Digest that. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah. Who knows? Well, I think we're going to see in September. Hopefully.
Yeah. There's not been much out lately about the iPhone 11 or whatever they're going to call it, the next iteration. But that September will be here before we know it.
The next 10.
The next 10.
The next 10.
The 10S Plus.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever they'll call it.
They probably just they won't.
Will they remove Touch ID completely from all their new phones? We'll see. I hope not, because I'm not going to like. I don't like Face ID. Do not like it.
Do not. The Guru has never been a fan.
Not a Face ID.
No Face ID.
Now I have it on my on a device I use for work. Not an Apple product, but a different product.
Yeah, right.
But I've read too many reports of it not being correct. So no, thank you. Well, it's like with the Touch ID, you can opt out of it and do a passcode.
Right.
But I'd rather have. Anyway,
I know. I totally understand.
I'm getting down another rat hole and get on my soapbox. Let me just get down because we have like 15 seconds now left.
Well, we really appreciate all our listeners.
Yeah, thank you for listening to my endless stream of consciousness.
No, we thank you so much, and I've enjoyed it, and it's been great.
Somebody did.
More than you think. More than you think, Guru. Thank you to all our listeners. We hope that you are having a wonderful week. And from all of us to all of you, have a fabulous weekend. See you next week.
The Hey Techies Show is produced by The Guru and co-produced by Mike Stedham. Join us again next time for another exciting installment of The Hey Techies Show. It's going to be great, maybe.